Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Right? Oh my gosh, it's a Monday again. It's a Monday. Ay, ay,
That's
ay.
good, huh?
I can't, time is flying. And it's funny, you would think that after we were in our homes for so long with COVID, that time would have been going so slow, but it seems to be just going quicker. I can't even believe it. So our broker owner conference with Remax International is starting today. 2 years ago, Heather, 2 years ago, we were touring Washington, D.C. That was one of our best trips.
That crazy day-long tour, but we fit so much in that one day. I mean,
I know.
We packed it all in. I told Leah, we have to go because I've been watching a show. What am I watching? A Scandal, which is an older show, but I'm just trying to binge watch, without watching news. So it's all these Washington, and you see all these different places, and I'm like, whenever this gets done, we need to go up there even for a long weekend, take the kids, whatever, just go explore. Because it was such a beautiful town, except for the roller coaster rides and Ubers and taxis. Those weren't so much fun, but what a beautiful town. Yeah, I'm glad we got to pack it all in.
Right.
Wish I was in San Diego right now with all of our peeps.
I know.
But at least the platform is really cool.
Yeah, I was poking around it yesterday, as you know, and I was actually really impressed with all of the stuff that they were able to put on that we're allowed to access virtually. It was really interesting. So I'm hoping that we learn a lot in the next 2 days and are able to share it with all the agents at our office.
No, I don't definitely. It's interesting. I guess it's just the way things are right now, but I mean, I'm glad that we're still able to do it and connect with everybody. Good morning, Stephen. How are you? So it'll be interesting. I am looking forward to networking with everybody. I have a class with Tavia that is tomorrow on Bouge. But
I didn't realize it was you and Tavia, and I marked it as one of the classes that I wanted to attend. So that's
I mean, I guess the good thing is that now I can actually have two different devices since I'm used, that whole ADHD squirrel brain is I can have multiple classes maybe because there's a couple that I'm like, crap, this is even my class, there's the luxury Instagram, and I think I just had emailed you some ideas on that. So when I saw that class and I was like, oh crap, it's at the same time. But
right.
They have, I noticed at least on, I don't know about the live classes yet, but I do know on all of the ones that are in the marketplace for RU, they have a link to all of the slides.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, because I know there's a couple that I want to see that I'm going to miss. Obviously when we travel somewhere, it's a lot easier to be immersed in the event because you're not in your hometown where, oh, let me go do this, let me go do that. Oh, shoot, my mother made a doctor's appointment, whatever it is. So I'm hoping, and I assume they will make everything available after the fact so we can rewatch. So I'm excited. It looks really good, and it was kind of fun searching through everything yesterday. So
I did get to the top of the leaderboard.
Oh, did you?
I got the same points as you, but my last name is H and yours is R, and I think
it's alphabetical.
I think if you have the same amount of points. So I was gonna try to find people to go chat with so I can get that social butterfly.
And you you weren't able to chat yesterday, apparently, from what I could find. I mean,
somebody did. The person that was the leader had the social butterfly badge.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was gonna text you last night, but then I realized it was 10 o'clock and I was like, okay.
I was as you may know, I was in bed. So that's funny. So yeah, well, we'll have to figure out today how to chat with others so we can get there's a leaderboard, everyone, for the more interactive you are with the system, the more you get up there. And for the first time ever, I was beating Heather in the leaderboard. And I think that's just because Heather logged on Friday too early, and they probably weren't counting all the stuff that you were doing. Maybe I don't know.
Find the RU the marketplace, the RU, to watch the videos, because I knew that was really the only other thing I could do, and I couldn't find it. But I guess because when I was going to the marketplace, I was actually going into the sponsors.
Right.
I didn't see, and then I did, and I swear I watched 5 videos last night, and I still wasn't getting the badge. I was so annoyed. And then my cat, decided to go onto my laptop and turn my computer off, and when I went back in, the badge was there. So it was like I just watched 5 videos and not having to where I could actually get the slides or whatnot. There was some great stuff in there, so I'm excited for that. Let's see, what is today? Today is the 4 ways farming your way to local success.
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about today, which is good. It's kind of funny. You wonder how many people got away from farming or were getting away from farming just because as things evolve and change, maybe you do some more things on social media, or you are using different avenues rather than kind of the back to basics of doing your farm. But I mean, we can tie that in with social media because you can farm through social media. So let's get into the topic, and then you can kind of school us a little bit on how people can do targeted ads to farm within their preferred area through social media as well. So the first thing is to choose your preferred area. Select an area because you love it and because you're committed to building that community in that neighborhood. So for me, I live in Suntree. My farm is in Suntree because I'm like 2 minutes from the office. When my kids were in elementary school, that was between, my house and the office. And if I could stay within my sphere or where I am most of the time, it made sense, and obviously I'm passionate about Suntree because that's where I live. That's where my kids go to school. That's where I work. So pick an area that you feel the same way about, or that you're going to be able to continually be within that neighborhood area sphere, so that when people either get your mail, targeted mailing, I also do targeted advertising in a local publication that mirrors what I'm sending out to my sphere, so that the impressions continue. And then when my kids were in school, I also had an ad at the elementary school at the drive-through loop. And it's just about people getting impressions and seeing your name and your face and your information over and over and over again, so that when it comes time for them to sell, or they have a family member moving to town, the light bulb goes off in their head and they remember.
Top of mind.
Yeah,
always.
Correct. Always the top of mind.
I see you everywhere. I don't know where, but I see you everywhere. I mean, and that's the thing. And even with social, it can be the same way. And it may not be an area, but it could be a type of person. For me, I think finding your tribe. And for me, it may be, big dogs. It could be a hobby. It could be anything. And that's where if you were to start groups or anything like that, I think it's finding your tribe. And groups are really super popular right now. And I'm sure a lot of people saw all the Facebook, the group ad for during the Super Bowl and stuff like that. I'm part of the Facebook, I don't know what they call it, power admins. You have to be invited by Facebook itself. And it means you have to be an admin of very popular, engaging groups. So it's very interesting to see what's coming, how the groups have evolved. But I think it's a matter of finding your tribe. And to me, that would probably be the best way. There's so many different community groups. I know we saw when all of this happened, groups that were started to help restaurants and stuff like that, just the local. I think sometimes we just have to step outside of our zone. And also for areas, so Suntree, for me, that's such a broad area, and you're definitely not the only agent in the county that has Suntree. So what about whether it be subdivisions, or do you only do one, or do you pick 3 different? For me, I think I've always said have 3 different kind of area zones that you're comfortable with. For me, it was always Palm Bay because that's where I grew up. I knew where you could go not feed the manatees, where you could pet them, right? That's against the law. Never feed them. just the different areas that I was comfortable with, I grew up in, stuff like that. So
so for me, like within Suntree, I mean, there's so many neighborhoods, and then it can become very costly. So sort of then the part, let's marry this into that, have a budget. So when I set my budget for my farm, then I picked the neighborhoods with the neighborhood count that fit into that budget. And I tried to, Suntree is very diverse. So I tried to choose a higher end, a middle end, and a lower end neighborhood. And that's kind of where I started. And as I grew, I would add neighborhoods into it. Or if I found suddenly I started doing more work in a specific neighborhood, then I would add that into it, making sure that those people in that neighborhood then kept hearing about me. So I always, within my farm, if it's a listing within my farm, do a just listed and a just sold postcard. And that is, again, the top of mind.
And also, I think for agents that are just starting to choose their farm area, go into the MLS, pull stats, because you can see as far as the sold data, if there's an agent, if you're looking on a specific subdivision and there's an agent that has 70% of that market, like their listing selling, move on. Like I would try to find a subdivision or small area where you can tell it is diverse. There's not one agent that probably has spent years.
So I'll tell you guys this. So for those of you that know, I live in the Courtyards in Suntree, and there's an agent whom I love. She's great, but she owns my neighborhood. She has owned it forever. She actually doesn't even live in the neighborhood anymore, but she still owns a unit there. Which then will tie in the next thing, which is reach out in person. This agent would, like, I think she has 3 kids now and a dog. When baby number 3 was born, like she would load up the kids, load up the baby number 3 in the stroller, the dog on the leash, and she has a newsletter and she brings it up to the front door of everybody's house. And it's a neighborhood where it's predominantly older women with dogs, basically. So they're all out at night walking their dogs, and she's out with her kids and her dog walking. That way they're really putting the name to the face. And it's funny because my mom lives in the same neighborhood, and my mom's like, why don't you do what she does? And I was like,
now there's no excuse.
Well, now, yes. Now they all know me because now I have a dog and she doesn't live in the neighborhood anymore. So now I'm out and about. But I said to my mom, I said, because I'm putting my energy elsewhere because she owns it. So to put my energy here right now is probably not the best use of my time and energy. So I kind of moved on to a different neighborhood. And it's funny, Matthew Stebbins, one of our agents, he lives in Merritt Island, he has one of those, what is that thing called?
Hover. It's
no,
not a hover. It's
Dean. Segway. He has a Segway, and he does his door-to-door knocking with his Segway.
Yeah.
Which is it's a total conversation starter. It really
sets you apart for sure.
Yeah.
Not everybody can even. I don't know. I tried the hoverboard once, and I was fine until I tried to get off, and then I felt flat on my back. That was got holes in my walls in my house from that. But I would also, if there are, ways to be able to stay in touch with the people inside of those communities, you have like the garage sales. So make sure that when there's garage sales, make sure if there is a new listing that you're in there previewing that and knowing the stats, having that knowledge, always knowing what's going on. I think that sets you apart as well.
Yeah, I think the stats is a huge thing, being the expert. And I think, for me, again, part of my listing presentation is talking about the stats and what's going on and knowing those numbers, knowing. It's funny, I'll say, when I started my real estate career, 82% of all people started their search online. And now it's like 99% of all people start their search online. And I kind of tell that story so people understand. I've been watching the stats from the beginning, and I keep up with it. I let them know we have 2.1 months of inventory, which is nothing. That is nothing.
Is that the lowest? I don't know I know when we got really low in the height of everything, but I don't know that it was ever 2 months.
I know. I think I thought it was like 3.5, if I remember
And that was like crazy low. We're slowly starting to get back up to that 5.5, 6 months, and then COVID happened.
Yep.
But I'm just like, I see those, and it's like crazy.
I know. So that's the fourth thing to this farm: offer value. So I'll just revert back to the gal who used to walk my neighborhood, and she has a newsletter. She will tell every house in the neighborhood that's listed, that's sold, what it's sold for, how long it's sold for, and then she has other, how to get your house ready for sale, or different. There's Ellis Wong waving to me from the hallway. So they have different.
I miss Ellis.
Different
I'll come in for the meeting.
Bits of information. We're live, Ellis, on Facebook. Come on in.
Come on over and say hi.
So here she is.
Our first guest. Hey.
Our first guest star. So Ellis, let's put you on the spot. Do you have a neighborhood or an area that you farm?
I wish I did. I wish I had started off with that. We're trying to get to that point now. But in the beginning, I think I started farming my old neighborhood, and then that just kind of fell off. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like things are settling down again, and it's time to start really focusing on what area we want to farm hard.
So like, say hi to Barbara Lynn. So, and what's funny, so we were talking about, farming through Facebook or through social media, and Ellis is big. She works out a lot. She's very big with her gym, and that I noticed, like, she was there she is. She is very good at working the farm within that community.
I work. I don't have a neighborhood, but I do work my gym.
And that's where I was like, finding your tribe, finding your hobbies. I think that's just finding your tribe, and that becomes your niche. It doesn't have to be necessarily subdivisions. I think it's just finding your people, because those are people that you're going to love to work with. The transaction will be easier because you have so much in common. And I think that's super important.
Well, and they know me on different levels, not just the work level. So when they know you on a personal level, then they're more comfortable with you, and then they're more likely to recommend you to others, other than just
Yes, right. Very true. Well, and it's funny because I just closed a deal recently that was a Zillow lead that was referred to me by another agent who was out of town. And so I took it over and dealt with these people. Great couple, great people, but they don't know me. I mean, and they love me now, but they don't know me. So with people like that, it's a little harder to have them really trust you from the beginning, that you're not just trying to sell them a house, that you're with them through the entire transaction. And I said, oh my God, if I don't do another lead like this, where it's not part of my tribe, where I don't know the person or somehow have a, how do you say, like a connection or something to connect with them with.
Right. I think that's so important. So I don't think it's all about the subdivisions. I think it's finding your tribe.
And agreed. It's funny. There's a gal, she's an agent. She started the Suntree neighborhood Facebook group. And I think it's funny because I think some of the other agents that go on there and comment and post don't realize that it's an agent who's running this group. So that's always interesting as well. But say it's not that. Say you started a Facebook group about where to eat. I know Kelsey did, where to eat, where you can get delivery or takeout during the COVID. And what she did, which is important, you don't have to everything be like, oh, I'm Kelsey Friedrich, I'm a realtor. You just comment so that they recognize your name. Mm-hmm. And then when they see you somewhere else, or you invite them.
It's giving that value. Mm-hmm. It's not, people, I just don't think that, I think we're all smarter than that hard sell.
Yeah.
And I really love, like, Gary V with that jab, 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 right hook. It's jabbing, you're giving value, value, value. And then you come in with that right hook, which may be, hey, I sell real estate too, or something like that. So yes, I agree, Barbara. She's provided a lot of, for an entire community, for all the restaurants, for everything that we've gone in. But I do think we're just too smart for that anymore. I think the public is too smart. Nobody wants to be sold anymore. I think it's that know, like, and trust. And
it's totally the know, like, and trust, and how does that work for you, Ellis, you're on a team. So it's you and Chris, And so you may be working with somebody, but they also have to know, like, and trust Chris, which is easy to do. But
Sometimes.
but when they're used to talking to you every day, and then say you go on vacation and now they have to transition to him while he's covering, how are you able to?
We always introduce up front. So whenever I'm working with somebody, I let them know if something happens, because I have children and life gets messy sometimes, that Chris will, that Chris will be in touch with them, and that Chris and I are in contact every day, multiple times. So he always knows what's going on with my transactions. I'm mainly working, and I always know what's going on with his. Like, he ended up getting pneumonia last week. So I had to take.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I've had to take over one of the transactions that's supposed to close today, but we don't think it'll make closing. And, step in and deal with them over the weekend. And it's helpful because I'd already talked with them once before. He basically couldn't even talk because every time he talked, he was coughing. But people know, as long as they know up front that there's two of us, they have never had a problem with it.
And Chris is so easy to, you just can't help but love him.
Yeah, for sure. He's so, he's got that calming voice and that calming sort of way about him. You may not agree, but.
No, absolutely. Chris, you got to deal with this one. I can't, because there are times that I feel it boiling up inside, and I'm like, okay, now I have to turn it over to Chris because our personalities are different.
Well, you complement each other. So
we go a lot, but our personalities are a little different in the way we deal with things.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So before I get into the weekly activity, let's just recap what you should be doing if you're going to create a farm. Oh, bye, Ellis. Thank you for joining. Have a great
bye, Ellis.
So when you so if you're going to choose a farm or a targeted area, you want to choose what that area is, and it can be more than one. So if you're doing something with farm mailers, that could be one thing. If you're doing something on Facebook with, say new puppy community or whatever you're doing, right? That's obviously all I've been posting about is puppy community. But it reminds people, of who I am and what I do. And I think when they know about your personal life, that kind of makes them trust you even more. Set a budget. So if you're doing something that's costing you money, make sure you keep to your budget, and then increase that budget over time as your business grows and you can branch out further. You want to increase that budget. Reach out in person. So even if it's social media, make sure when they're commenting, you're commenting back, not just the thumbs up, but you're making comments back to them.
Conversation. Make it social. It is social media. Don't leave people hanging, just like you wouldn't leave them hanging if they were standing in front of you. Same thing. Keep that conversation going.
Yep. And then always offer something of value, So with that, the weekly activity, what is your greatest fear for the remainder of this year? And how can you plow through that fear and turn that fear into fuel? And I think it's just do it, right? So.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it is crazy, but who knows? You just don't know day to day. You just kind of, I don't know. You're crazy. Suck it up. Try to keep time management, but.
And if you feel like you're off track, or if you feel like you're worried because inventory is low and you've had a bad day, just go to bed, wake up, reset the next day so you're ready to go with a positive mind and attitude,
Absolutely. And let's see, words of wisdom. Let's see, yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow is ours to win or lose. I thought it was deep, but but it's true. I think, I don't know.
Exactly.
Just this year alone, I just think has just been crazy. So, today is ours to win or lose. So let's just focus on today, momentum, time management, whatever we have to do. I know we're all crazy. We've got school starting up. That's crazy in itself. But I think we just have to keep moving forward with that momentum and doing the best that we can.
And if you have a bad day, go to sleep and just wake up ready to kick butt again the next day, honestly, with positive thoughts,
Yeah. And so we have our BOC the next 2 days. So I am sure with that, we will find a really fun topic to cover next week with all the learning and classes that we're going to be doing for the next 2 days. So
right. We do have an upcoming class with Vera Insurance.
yes.
Things to need to know about insurance, and they reached out to us because things are changing all the time. So what might have worked for insurance a year ago may not. One of the biggest hot topics, and maybe they'll talk about it, is water heaters. Like we're having issues now with water heaters. A water heater might be working perfectly fine, but if it's 25 years old, the insurance company doesn't want to insure it. You're past inspections, insurance company doesn't want to insure, seller doesn't want to put a new water heater in because, hey, it works perfectly fine, but now the buyer can't get insurance. So maybe that'll be one of the topics that they'll cover with us. So we have that coming up. We have agent roundtable coming up.
Yes.
And that we're going to do
this week, right? That's Thursday.
It is Thursday. So we're going to do that virtually and not virtually, which means I'm going to set up in the training room with a laptop, but that laptop will cover the whole room. If you're going to be in it live, bring your laptop with you because we want the people who are not in the room to be able to see you and hear you from your laptop, or just stay at home and watch from there.
Awesome. And that's via Zoom. So I think we have the link in our back agent, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
But so until I guess Thursday when we see you, wake up, kick ass, and repeat. You see that in the BOC when you go into the Remax University?
Yep.
The wake up. I love that neon sign. It just reminded me of when we were at R4. I think I just spent a lot of time in that booth taking my
picture. Yep.
It was my favorite photo booth.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
See you later.
Bye.